So, we're back for another interview on Always Say Yes to Adventure. It's a show for action adventure, and we got both today. Today, our guest is Steve Kilcullen, and we're going to be talking about skydiving. Now, hello, Steve. Good
Hey, Alex. It's good to see you again.
to see you. So, the last time we met was you told me this crazy story about skydiving and your
Yeah.
experience skydiving. Now, just a little introduction for yourself. You're an actor?
I've done a whole bunch of different things. Yeah, I've done acting. I've worked as a screenwriter. My current job, I'm working as a cocktail writer for a London-based company,
Mm.
talking about different drink recipes and stuff like that. So it's been an interesting life.
Oh, great. So yeah, so I've done skydiving once, one time,
Mm.
and it was a really intense experience. You can see the whole video about that on the YouTube channel. And I wanted to talk about your skydiving experience because it was very different from mine.
Mm.
Now, my skydiving experience was pretty, typical. When you go to a skydiving center, you're strapped to an instructor like a piece of luggage, and, and you're basically there for the ride. And he throws himself out with you attached in front of him. And eventually you free fall for a while, and then eventually he pulls the chute out, and you're yanked up with extreme force, and then you gently glide down to the bottom. Now, it was very intense. I did it one time. Will I do it again? Maybe. We'll see. But yours was very different. So what was your skydiving background and experience?
Well, my dad was Army Airborne, so always kind of just been around, pictures in the house of my dad, in a parachute and everything, and hearing stories. And we'd visit. We never lived at Fort Benning where they have the airborne school, but we would go visit friends and family that live there, and we would just kind of tool around. And sometimes other army posts where we lived, they would do sort of like family days, and a couple of times they would one of the training things that they had was, I think it was the 34-foot tower. They had different levels of towers and of heights, and one of these was basically you get up on a 34-foot tower and they'd strap you in a harness and then send you flying down a line, so and kind of train you how to fall. But on the family days, what they do is they'd strap the kids in the harness, and these soldiers would just kind of zip these kids down the line. And then at the end, however many hundreds of feet down this zip line it was, there were a couple other soldiers that were waiting for you that would catch you. And that was kind of my first experience with anything sort of skydiving or parachute
Yeah,
related.
how old were you when that happened?
Oh boy, I think the first time I did that, I probably wasn't more than like 5 or 6 years old.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Boy, different times back then.
Oh yeah.
I just
Yeah,
strapped my
I still even when
6-year-old
I
and
remember
throw him
doing it
down a zip
again
line.
once. I remember doing it again when I was a little older, and there was a really, I think it was my brother actually, who he's like 8 years younger than me, and he was like a toddler, and they put him in the harness and strapped him up and just kind of flung him down, and he was just whoa.
There were no worry about lawsuits there.
Yeah, no, it's the army, they got you.
Oh wow.
But yeah, when I was 10, because this is definitely Bond related, because when I was 10 years old, we were living on Redstone Arsenal in Alabama, where they have space camp. And that was when I saw I'd already seen a couple Bond movies at that point, but Moonraker comes on
Moonraker.
TV for like the Sunday night movie one time, and I didn't even know this movie existed. And I just thought, oh, James Bond movie, great. And I recorded it, I videotaped it, and because we had just gotten a VCR a couple years before, so we were just recording everything. And that opening sequence blew my mind.
Oh my God.
To this day, when I watch it, I still get goosebumps and the hair on the back of my head, and it just that whole skydiving sequence just floored me. And I would just rewind it and watch it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And
Still
I would
today, yeah, one of the greatest, probably if not the greatest skydiving stunt sequence ever filmed for
yeah.
in Hollywood history, in cinema history.
I mean, it's definitely, it definitely influenced the skydiving scene in Fallout, the Mission Impossible movie, which
Yeah.
I actually thought was fake the first few times I saw it. I was like, oh, I wonder why they
No,
did
they
this
did use
on.
some CGI with the weather in
Yeah,
it. So,
I didn't
but
actually
the
realize
falling
until I
was
was,
real.
yeah, I didn't realize that until a
Yeah.
couple times after, and I looked it up and I went, oh, that's actually real. But yeah, all the CG and stuff kind of threw me off a little bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, that opening scene in Moonraker, I just remember, especially the moment that really got me was when he gets pushed out for the first time and is just tumbling, and then when he puts his arms
When he puts it
behind
back
him,
and then he,
yeah, and then goes flying forward like a torpedo. I went, oh
yeah,
my God, I
that
wonder what
was
that feels
so
like.
cool.
And I would ask my dad, I'm like, Dad, what does this feel like? And he's telling me the truth. He's like, man, I never did free fall. I did static
Yeah.
line, which was, a bunch of guys in a plane and they put the rip cords up on the line and they all that they say shuffle to the door and they get tapped on the button. They all jump out and then their rip cords get pulled. And that's a low altitude jump.
Yeah.
But he told me when I was 18, I was still in high school. Because I my birthday is early in the school year in October, and he said, "Look, you're 18 now. You've been bugging me for like years and years about skydiving. If you're serious about it, you can do it, and you're gonna do it for real. You're gonna learn how to do it. You're gonna get trained. You're gonna go up and play." Because he had a friend of his, and I don't even know why. I was just with my parents for an entire month, and I never bothered to go, "Hey, Dad, what was that guy's name again?" But I completely forgot my dad's buddy's name, and he was a Green Beret, so maybe he doesn't want his name,
Mm.
broadcast out there. But he was also a member of the Golden Knights, the Army's parachute team. And in November, it was that we did it. I remember we drove down. We were living in Norfolk, Virginia at the time, and we drove down to North Carolina where my dad's buddy was. And there was this little airfield that he and his friends would just go and jump. They'd go every weekend and just spend the whole day jumping. Go up in a plane, skydive, hit the ground, pack their chute again, go up, just get in like I don't know how many jumps a day. And because I had two jump masters that day, and while I was getting kind of this one-on-one training, and it was very unorthodox because usually you have to do like in-class training for X amount of hours, and
Mhm.
then you have to have on-ground training for X amount of hours. So you kind of go back a couple of times to whatever airfield or skydiving school you go to. And but because this guy was a friend of my dad's, we went to his house, and everybody goes to bed, and I stay up late with this guy, and we're just talking about Moonraker. And he's telling me about, oh yeah, that was BJ Worth, and that was this guy. He knew all the
Oh, wow.
stuntmen, and he knew all the guys, and he knew everything about skydiving. And was just, and that was kind of my first little bit of training was just kind of geeking out about other skydivers with him. And then in the morning, we got up at like 5 in the morning, drove to the airfield, and it was just me and him one on one, and he was just basically telling me, well, this is everything that can go wrong. So I'm just basically kind of give you a crash course on everything that can go wrong, so just in case something goes wrong, you won't, turn into high speed dirt, which was their terminology for
High
hitting the
speed
ground
what?
with that high speed dirt.
High
That's the
speed
Yeah, it's a skydiver's terminology for hitting the ground without a parachute open.
dirt.
So if neither, because you usually have two chutes on a jump, you'll have your main and then you have your reserve. So God forbid your main doesn't open, you've got your reserve that you can
Yeah.
pull open. And if for whatever reason both chutes don't open, you're high speed dirt.
This was not tandem.
No, this was not a tandem jump. I did an accelerated free fall jump.
Your first time.
My first time at 18 years old.
What year was this?
This was in 1995.
I don't even know if that's legal.
Yeah, I don't know because I was looking because they have like weight restrictions and requirements now, and there was no way I would have met those back then because one of the things was after I had like sort of this crash course in training, they put me in a jumpsuit, they put me in a harness. I
Yeah.
shake hands with my other jump master who goes, "Hey, while you're waiting for the plane, I'm gonna go up and do another jump." So literally, like we're waiting for our plane to get ready, and it's getting fueled up, and it's a puddle jumper, man. It's like it's tiny, it's tiny. Um, my other jump master goes up and does a jump. And while we're getting in this plane, he's packing his chute and getting ready. And we're literally crawling over each other to get in the plane. It's just enough room for the pilot in front. I'm sitting with my back to the pilot, with my legs kind of just extended throughout to the tail of the plane. That's how tiny the plane is. Then we had this woman who had a camera helmet. She was going to film the whole thing, and she's sitting at the back of the plane. And my two jump masters are kind of huddled, just sort of in the rest of the plane, not really sitting or standing. And we take off and we just we go like flying like straight up into the sky. We're flying around the drop zone. And then they open the door. And this is how I knew I kind of expected, just because of movies and things like that. Oh, they're gonna open the door and one guy's gonna jump, then I'm gonna follow him maybe, and then the other guy's gonna jump behind me, and then we're gonna kind of meet up. Wasn't
Did they
like
tell
that
you
at
how
all.
to pull the chute and everything? Did they give
Yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah. They were, because they said when you pull your chute, because in the movies, you know, they pull the ripcord
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
chest. And it's not like that at all. It's like this little red kind of PVC like tube. It's about this long and it's at your hip. So when you
Oh,
pull your ripcord, you go like this. You kind of balance yourself out with your hand, and your other
okay.
hand grabs the cord and then pulls it.
Make
You
sure they
actually, in Die Another Day, when Gustav Graves jumps out of the plane, you
yeah
actually see him do
see
that.
him do
He does
that.
that exact
Yeah.
move, and he pulls the ripcord from his hip. And that's one of the few movies where I've actually seen it authentically done like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um, so when they open the door, they're like, "Okay, swing your legs out and sit." Because when they opened the door, all of a sudden it was just that entire side of the plane was open, and I'm 10,000 feet in the air, and they're like, "Okay, swing your feet out, and then take your hand like this, and grab onto the wing, and just put your foot onto the wheel, and just slice yourself out, and go climb out onto the wing and wait for us."
What?
And I'm like,
Climb out
"What?"
on the wing?
Yeah, and that's how I knew. That's when they told me I was going to do that, and I'm like, "Wait,
What?
what?" And I wish I
You've
could
never
find.
done this before,
Never
and
done it
they're
before in
making
my
you
life.
wing walk.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember one of my thoughts at the time was, it took a long time because the woman who was shooting this, she climbed out onto the plane first, just like in Octopussy. She climbs out of the door, gets onto the top of the plane, shimmies herself down to the tail, and is hanging onto the tail of the plane, filming me at the door. And because I weighed, all of 80 pounds, instead of just slicing out real cool like they told me, I looked like one of those, used car sales kind of billowy guys that's
Yeah.
at the front of the car lot. I'm literally just going like this and being blown back by like
Oh,
hurricane gale
wait a
force
minute.
winds.
So when you were saying there were weight restrictions for this, you were talking about being underweight, not overweight.
Well, now I think there's weight restrictions over and under, but back then they didn't. Seems like they didn't care. They
Looks
didn't.
like they
They were
didn't
like,
care
"How much
about
do you weigh?"
much.
Yeah, oh, I
They
weighed like
they
all of 80 pounds or something back
and
then.
they
I
expected you
was a
to.
feather.
Oh my God! And they expected you to free fall without out ever doing this before. So you're not
They
pulling
were like, "Oh, don't
immediately.
worry, you got the two of us. We'll be on either side of it." And I remember I finally got onto the wing of the plane, and I was holding on to like the strut, like going attached to
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
plane and the wing, kind of holding on like this. And I've
yeah.
got one foot on the on top of the wheel. There's like a little platform that's literally about yay big on top of the wheel, and I got my foot on that. And they're like, "Now give us room because we got to put our foot and the other guy's foot next to yours." Because they basically got into the one guy crawled onto the wing over me and onto
Yeah.
my right. And the other jump master just went out and onto my left. And they literally said, "Okay, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then let go."
So it's not
And
one, two, three, let go. It's one, two, three, and then let go.
yeah,
Make
kind of
sure
like
you
in,
get that
in
right.
Lethal Weapon, where they're like, "Is it 1, 2, 3, go," or 1, 2, 3, and go? And I'm thinking
Yeah.
that the whole time. I'm like, "So we're all gonna let go. So when are we letting go?" And I'm there, like I'm looking. I'm literally the way I'm holding. There's no way. I'm only looking down the way I'm holding on to the plane, and I'm literally being dragged by this plane by holding on to the wing. And the whole time I'm thinking, how does James Bond do this on like a semi-regular basis? This is crazy.
This is
Like
insane.
this is almost physically impossible. But then
Oh
I
my,
let go, and then all of a sudden the plane went from being this, plane to being this big,
oh my
like
God.
that. And the wind gets punched into my lungs,
Oh
so I
yeah.
can't exhale.
Can't breathe.
You remember that sensation?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it
yeah,
feels
yeah.
like you're suffocating almost because you're just
I
like,
mean,
ah.
yeah, it is a bizarre experience because first of all, you
Yeah,
don't really feel like you're falling. You kind
no,
of feel like you're flying, but
yeah,
there's so much wind hitting your face, in your
yeah,
nose, in your mouth that you can't breathe.
yeah.
And the noise is so loud of the wind going past your ears, you can't hear a thing.
No, it's just like,
You
oh
can't, yeah. And your mouth is like, ah, and
yeah,
then
your whole
going
face
up
feels
your
like it's
nose.
going. "Vroom."
Yeah, and in your mouth, and and it's so loud, you can't hear
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
And I'm just seeing signals from but my guy was behind my back, so he's giving me hand signals here and there, and we're doing the free fall, and we did one of the longest. I think it's listed as the longest tandem free fall in the country. We went up 15,000 feet.
oh wow,
But
wow.
we were dropping like almost like 2 minutes. I mean, we were dropping for a long, long time.
That's a great amount of time.
Yeah. And so we just keep dropping, and then finally, he does the thing. But the violence of being pulled is
Yeah,
so intense. I
yeah.
literally pulled a rib and I'm strapped to the guy. So it's two of us, but it's still like blah, and you're lifted, God knows how much high up into the air. So it is a violent action. So you're
Oh yeah,
okay, so we're free falling now. Are we free falling now in your story?
yeah. Still free falling, and they're
Are they?
like,
But are they with you?
yeah. I got one guy on my right, one guy on my left, and they're kind of just holding on to me,
Oh,
like on
they're
either
what
side
are
of
they
me, and
holding?
they're giving me signals like they're doing like this, which means like straighten out your legs a little bit, or oh no, it's too straight,
Oh,
bring them in, and then I got to do my circle of awareness, which is there's the ground, there's my secondary jump master, or no, it was ground altitude, and I had my altimeter on my
oh, they gave
wrist.
you an altimeter.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't
because
know that.
they're like you got to have an altimeter, man, because at 5,500 feet you have a hand signal, which is that 5 5, and then all of a sudden you see your guys going boom boom. They do that great Moonraker rocket movement
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they all of a sudden they're flying away from you, and you're like, holy
What?
shit, I'm by myself. And then you gotta, because at 5,000 feet that's the cutoff. You pull your chute at 5,000 feet, and then you have a good. Otherwise, I think past that point it gets a little unsafe.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Are
But
you
there,
wearing
yeah,
a
there was a
helmet?
couple times where I don't think I was paying attention quite properly, because all of a sudden I felt this bam, bam on my helmet, and I look, and it's my dad's buddy going, like giving me some hand signals. I'm like, well, what the hell does that mean?
Oh no. So
And
they
I
they
remember, yeah,
when they're holding onto you, what are they holding? Your wrists or your belt or what?
it's kind of like a little chunk of my jumpsuit on my arm, and then on
Oh,
my leg on either side of me, just to
okay.
kind of
To
stabilize
steady
me
you
and make
out.
sure that I don't start tumbling. Because if
Yeah,
you open
because
your
that,
chute and you're tumbling,
yeah,
those risers will wrap up and cut you to ribbons. That's it.
yeah, yeah, because I mean, one of the reasons why they do tandem is because you have to do a lot of tandems to learn how to steady yourself in the
Yeah,
midair before you're
yeah,
allowed. So, yeah, you skipped ahead. You skipped like 20
yeah,
jumps ahead, 10
yeah.
jumps ahead.
That's all my dad's like, well, I got this green beret, buddy. Maybe we'll just, we'll be fine. Yeah.
Did you find out later he took a shitload of insurance out on you?
Yeah, years after. It's like we had that policy, man. We were kind of hoping it'd pay off. Which is funny because I remember all my training was just for what could go wrong. And when they finally like zoomed off and the altimeter read 5,000 feet, and I pulled the ripcord, yeah, that shock, that like boom, and everything gets super quiet. Like I've never felt a stillness like that
Yeah.
before or since in my life. It was absolutely, I mean, there's actually no words that can really properly describe it. You're just up there, and then it's just you're above the world, and it's so quiet. It's just so quiet.
It is shocking because the free fall is violent. It's like
Yeah,
it's intense. I don't know violent, but it is intense experience with the air
yeah.
rushing past your ears, the noise, the air going in thing, your lack of ability to take a decent breath.
Oh
It
yeah,
is,
it's nothing like you'd ever expect either.
and then they pull the chute and you're yanked really violently up, and then yeah, and then peace.
Yeah.
Nice, gentle float down to the, and when we're doing it, right? I did it in Florida and it was in Cape Canaveral.
Oh,
And so
nice.
we're kind of like he holds the what do you call those cords that steer?
Oh, the risers,
The risers. So he's holding the risers and he's sort of steering left and steering
I think,
right.
or
And
the
we're
flare. Yeah, I think they're. I forget.
Yeah, whatever they are. And then we're going and he's sightseeing and he's like, oh, there's Cape Canaveral and there's a SpaceX rocket over there and that's going to take over tomorrow. And where the rockets come out of and that's the main hangar. And so but it's so quiet and I can hear everything he's saying. I mean, he's right here, but I
Yeah.
can hear everything he's saying perfectly. And it's just yeah, the difference between free falling and then gliding a parachute down is so different because it's so peaceful and gentle.
Yeah. Until
Until
because it was funny because even with the
But wait
free
a minute,
fall, like you were saying
did they
before, you
teach
feel
you
like you're flying
did they teach you how to manipulate the cables to steer?
midair.
What?
Yeah. Oh, this this
Okay, so
this
you
is a
pull
great.
the chute, right?
Yeah.
And you're violently pulled up, and all of a sudden everything becomes quiet, and then
Yeah.
what?
So I got this one-way radio where they can talk to me, but I can't communicate with them, and it's strapped to my parachute. So the chute opens up, and my first thought is actually because the first thing they teach you is chute opens, count to, I forget what the count was, but you count to X amount of numbers, then you look up. That makes sure that, okay, the canopy's open. That means I don't have to pull the other chute or I'm not in
Right.
any danger. Everything's cool. And I remember looking up and going, oh, okay, well, all this other stuff I learned, I don't have to do now. Okay. So I kind of grabbed the risers and they told me like we got a one-way radio, we'll kind of guide you down. And so I'm waiting and I'm up there for a little bit and I'm just like, okay, I'm just kind of hanging. I don't really want to pull it either way because I don't want to knock myself off course or something. And then I hear a little, Steve, can you hear it? Can you hear us up there? We can see you. And I don't even remember what I did because it's like they can't hear me. So why are they asking me questions? They're like, so this is what we're gonna do. We want you to pull both risers, we want you to flare. This is really cool. You're gonna love this. So I yanked, like they said, real hard on both of my risers and flared my chute. And usually you do that as you're landing. Because
Yeah.
what that'll do
Slow
is
your ascent. Yeah.
yeah, kind of lifts you up a little bit so you can kind of tippy
Yeah.
toe and walk on the landing.
Slows
But
down your descent. Yeah.
when you're up like 5,000 feet or whatever it is, and you flare, what happens is it turns you into a pendulum.
What?
So I flared, and all of a sudden the chute goes like this in front of me, and I have a complete like panic attack. I'm like, oh my god! I thought because the chute all of a sudden like looked like it was below me, and
Oh,
I thought I was going to go flying right into the canopy, and just like a rocket, high speed dirt into the ground. But what happened is right as it looked like that was going to happen, I started to swing. And I'm literally doing this with my canopy, swinging back and
they
forth. And the whole
told you
time
to do this?
they told me to do this. And the whole time I'm up there going, oh, I'm freaking out. My legs are, all just like going every which way. And then after it settled for about a minute or so, I get a little, that was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Oh my God. Were they pranking you on your way
Yeah,
down your
yeah,
first
they
skydive?
totally knew what was going to happen. They totally knew I was going to freak out.
Oh my
So,
God.
so they're down on the ground, basically laughing at me. but then after that, they were like, okay, now you're gonna want to catch this wind, so pull your left riser and go to your
The
right. And they
sick
kind of,
bastards.
oh yeah. Then they got that whole culture of skydivers. They're a little kooky.
Yeah, it's just that they're a little off. There's
Yeah.
something slightly wrong with them.
But after that, that was the only prank they really played on
Wait,
me. And
so,
after that,
okay, so you're coming
yeah,
down, you almost flip over, then you come back and you're swinging back and forth like a pendulum like this.
yeah.
And then what happened?
So then they start guiding me down. They start going, okay, catch the wind, pull the riser here and go to your right. And okay, now let's get you to the left. And so they're basically just on the ground going, okay, now pull this and go there and go there. And finally I'm reaching the drop zone, which is this giant, like blue gray kind of almost like a gym pad. And it covers like a big chunk of the airfield. And I totally miss it. I go flying over it. And right because at first I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually gonna hit the DZ. This is great. My first jump, and then oh, there it goes. And so I go flying over it, and I keep flying, and the ground is just rushing up and getting faster and faster. And it doesn't feel like I'm in a parachute anymore. It just feels like I'm falling really fast toward the ground. And then they're like, flare, flare, flare. So I flare the chute, and the ground stops. Everything stops for a brief second. My feet gently touch the ground, but then my legs give way, and I just bam,
Oh,
face first, right into the dirt. My whole body.
you're
I
supposed to
even told,
run.
yeah, you're supposed to just kind of tippy toe and then
Yeah,
run, and then
you,
your
you
chute falls forward.
you run off.
Yeah, none of that happened. My legs turned to rubber. I go flying face first into the ground. I
Oh
was
my
even telling
God.
Mike at the Culture of Bond the other day. I said, "Yeah, it looked like someone threw an action figure out of an airplane."
Yeah, because when I landed, so we're coming down, and so again, tandem, guys
Yeah,
behind me, and he doesn't do that thing. All right, we nice, gentle, kind of little swing left and right, but not back and
yeah,
forth. But he's telling me to lift your legs, and I'm like, why? He says, because if you don't lift your legs high enough, you're gonna break your ankles. And I'm like, oh shit.
yeah.
So I'm lifting my legs. He goes higher than that. And I'm like, I can't lift your legs. And I said, okay, what if I grab my leg like this? And I'm literally grabbing my pants, pulling my legs up. And he goes, good enough. And we skid right on our ass, right on our
Oh
butts.
wow.
We skid across. It was actually quite gentle. It wasn't like boom, hit hard. It was just sort of like your butt sort of goes like
Oh,
that.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really nice and
mine was a
just
little rougher than that.
yeah. No, it wasn't too rough. It was skidding your butt across the ground, but it was okay. But when
Remember,
I
because
landed,
I
I'm
yeah,
like,
and
whoa,
your whole
that was
body kind of
cool.
feels like whoa. Once you stand up and you're on the earth again, you're like whoa,
But
whoa,
you
and
hit
everything's
and you
just kind of
fall.
buzzing.
Yeah, you hit and you fall forward on your face.
Bam, face first, right into the dirt. And I was watching the because the video I sent, my sister took that video, and you can't really tell in the video, but I remember once I hit the ground and went face first, I felt the harness get pulled real hard,
Oh,
like I was going to get dragged by the parachute. But I started to kind of like, and after that, my memory really is, I think everybody kind of, because it's your first jump, you don't know what
yeah,
to do. Everyone's kind of grabbing and collecting the chute for you.
yeah,
And my
yeah.
dad's buddy kind of he takes me to the side and he goes, "All right, man, it's pretty good for your first shoot. You're gonna need some more jumps before getting class A. So we're thinking like 20 jumps before you get class A certified," which that didn't freak me out. And it's a bit of an expensive hobby, but my dad was even like, look, if you're serious about doing this, we'll support you. We'll help you do this, as
You
a
like
hobby.
say,
And
I'm not doing that again.
well, no, the what turned me off initially back then was we're in kind of this big field behind one of the hangars, and there's all these other guys out on this other side of the field, and they're all out there packing their own chutes, and they're folding up the chutes. And he's like, okay, you do another like one or two shoots with us like this, jumps with us like this, and then we teach you how to pack your own chute. And I go, wait, pack my own chute. he goes, yeah, man, you're responsible for your own life and for your own, so you don't want anybody else. He goes, you pack your own chute. We have people that double check it and this and that. And for whatever reason, at 18 years old, the idea of packing my own parachute was terrifying. It was more terrifying than doing what I did. I thought, oh my God, I don't know if I trust myself right now to do that.
I would not.
So,
No way.
and I thought over the years, like, and I ended up going to college and I got into like I went to an acting conservatory, and all my acting teachers are like, wait, you go skydiving? And I do the Connery line from Diamonds Are Forever just once. But yeah, but I've been thinking ever since, thinking about getting up and doing it. And either I've had, teachers or agents go, what the hell's the matter with you? Don't do that. Or, significant others or family members going, wait, you're gonna do what? No, 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 no. So when next time I get up in a plane and do it, I'm basically going to start from scratch all over again. I want to do the classes and do everything, but I'm probably going to keep it to myself for a little bit before I tell anybody I know. So, and there's a lot of skydiving out here in LA.
Yeah, I can almost guarantee you they're going to make you do a tandem jump first, make you take.
I might. They're not
gonna throw you out of an airplane.
Oh no! And I don't think I'd want to do that. I mean, like at my age now, knowing what I know, I mean, hell, I was on my buddy's roof the other day painting his chimney and just trying to swing my leg around onto the ladder. Like I'm doing that and going, how the hell I jump out of an airplane? I can't even get on this ladder.
Oh my God, I hate ladders. I'll do skydiving at any time before I get up on a ladder. I used to do roofing when I was young as well. That just crap out of me.
I think being on a roof is worse than being on the wing of an airplane.
Yeah, definitely. Being on that's awful. No, I wouldn't do that again. But yeah, throwing you out of an airplane and just hoping for the best.
Yeah, let's see how he does. He might like it. Yeah.
He might like it. I mean, it was so funny because when I did it, like I said, like I told you before, once before, it was me. It was one other guy who was slightly older than me, maybe even not a little more than slightly. It was last year, so I was 56, 57 at the time. I can't remember. And about 9 20-year-old girls, all these young college-age girls. So it's me, two of us old guys, and all these young girls. So of course I'm looking at him, he's looking at me. We're like, we're not chickening out. There's no way we can. Yeah, there's no way we cannot do this in front of all these young girls.
Yeah. Not even no hesitation, nothing. Got to do it.
Well, I got to say the process for me was interesting because the night before I was concerned, and I was able to sleep, but I was definitely thoughts went through my mind of like, what if it doesn't open? What if I become, what would you say, dirt?
High speed dirt.
High speed dirt. Yeah. But as I went through unlike you, as I went through the process, these guys were they were obviously crazy, but they were also super, super, super professional about every step of the way. Because when you get there, the first thing they make you do is sign like 15 pages of you can die doing this, sign here. You could die doing this, sign. You can die. Skydiving is an extreme sport and extremely dangerous, sign here. So skydiving can cause death, sign here.
Funny because I remember
you could die doing this. And it's literally 9 pages of just you could die, sign here.
See, I'm actually glad they didn't make me sign anything. My dad's buddy
right before
I got on the plane, he goes, now you want to do this, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, all right, let's go. They double checked my chute and they were like, come on.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. Unbelievable. Yeah, so by the time they get, there's no real ground school. They just sort of suit you up, harness you, put the harness on you, and then he gives you some signals and he says, I'm going to give you this signal, I'm going to give you that signal, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Throw your head back, throw your legs back, you know, when you jump, make sure that you do that. You throw your head back, and you throw your legs back like in a like an L position like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're gonna go down and everything's gonna be great. And that was it. You know, that was pretty much all the instruction. But I did see, like, looking at all the other guys, seeing the process, and the more I got more I got aware of the process, the more I was like, oh no, these guys do this all day, every day. They're fine.
Oh
They're having
yeah.
a time. They're super professional. They know how to pack it, they know how to do this, they know how to do that. You know, they're being very careful, they're making sure I'm aware of everything. They
Hmm.
certainly did not let me pack my own shoe.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean,
Oh, even like
eventually
I was
you
like,
really
wait,
got
only
into
two
it.
more, and then I got to do that? What?
Yeah. Two. Oh my God. No, I think when I was researching it, it was like almost 10 tandem jumps or something like that. I had to do a lot
Oh,
of tandem
okay, yeah.
before I got able to do the thing with the one instructor on each side, and then you get to do it with one instructor, and then you get to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
So you
It's a
have to
little
do,
stricter than the way I do
yeah. Well,
it.
these are FAA rules, which they obviously didn't follow.
Yeah, it was funny because the airfield that I jumped at, it was really tiny. It was literally just a couple of shacks and a hangar, and like, a handful of these little like puddle jumper Cessna planes, like single prop planes that was just constantly going up, going down, refueling, going up, going down,
Yeah.
refueling. After my jump, this old guy from New Zealand was going up and jumping the whole day. He comes up to me because I noticed him, he would land on his knees every jump. And I noticed that. He comes running up to me. He goes, "Hey, mate, how was your first time?" And I was like, "Oh, I had a bit of a sensory overload." And he starts laughing and he goes, "Sensory overload? Just say you didn't know what the shit was going on, man." And I
Was
love
he
that
on his
guy. He was
knees?
like, he was one of my best memories of that day because right after we had that little moment, and he was an elderly man. He had to be
Yeah,
in his like 70s, 80s. He
yeah.
goes up in a plane, and before we left, I watched him jump again and land on his knees. His legs were no good anymore, but he could not live his life without jumping. So he put on these like skateboard knee pads, like Rector knee pads,
Oh my
and would just
God.
land on his knees every jump.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, had to
Oh
do it. He said, I can't go a day without jumping out of a plane.
my God, too funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, yeah, when I heard that story the first time, my jaw was on the floor. I couldn't believe, I mean, even after having my experience and knowing what it was, I was just blown away. How crazy that one was.
I think back on it sometimes and go, wow, I can't believe my parents let me do that.
Not only did your
And
parents
it
not
was
let
and
you
it
do
was
it, your
one it
dad
was my dad's
insisted.
suggestion too. Yeah. He's like, no, do it like this. It'll be great.
Yeah, it's like your dad was trying to secretly get rid of you or something.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Get
oh,
rid of
he's about
him.
to go to college. Might be cheaper if he.
We can make some money here. So, would you do it again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
And I think because I would totally do it again because it's been so long. Um, and I want to see like if it's the kind of thing that, oh, have has my youthful sort of fearlessness kind of left me, or is this something that's always still kind of sitting in me?
Yeah.
Because there, like I remember, over the last month, my mother and I went on a Ferris wheel, and we ended up at the top, and they stopped to let other people on, and I'm looking around going, this is kind of high. And then it made me think like, do I really want to get in a plane and jump out of it again? I don't know, man.
The plane's a
So
lot
it's
higher.
so a lot of it is because it is the challenge too. It's, this
Yeah.
is something that all of my friends, when I tell them, oh yeah, I had this experience, and they're like, you're a
Yeah.
nut. Why
One
would
of
you?
the
And the popular expression that people will say is, why would you jump out of a perfectly good
good
airplane?
airplane. Yeah, my first thought was I was in the airplane and then they opened the door and I'm like, Oh my God, I've never been in an airplane with the door open before.
Yeah, it's a different sensation. It's like, oh, oh.
But yeah, but like I said, I was so impressed with the professionalism and with the carefulness of the instructors that I
Yeah,
actually was not. The closer I got, my experience was the closer I got to the door, to the actual jump, the less afraid I was. So by the time
yeah,
I was at the door, I was like, let's go, let's do this, let's get out of here. I want to do this now. I want to get this
yeah.
done. Let's go. And I was really jazzed for it. So I don't know if I don't know if that was your experience when you first did it. Because
It was
you
weird
weren't
because
strapped to a guy.
well, the way that they made me jump, climbing out onto the wing and then
That's insane.
yeah, I remember like kind of going, well, this is kind of throwing me for a loop a little, and there's no way out of it. Like the plane is no like, well, I'll just go sit in the back because everyone's climbing over you, and so it's like, okay, well,
And what
I
if
don't
you
want to.
slip? What if you accidentally let go,
Yeah,
before
that
you're
was.
supposed to?
I think that was my biggest fear. I was like, oh, what if I slip and fall and I hit the woman at the back of the plane, or
Yeah.
what if I hit the back of the plane and I cut myself in half or
Cut
something?
yourself in
Yeah.
two.
So yeah, so my main thing was, all right, just do this part right. Just get out onto the wing and then just take it from there. And but at that point, I remember like not really being afraid. I remember thinking, well, you're up here. So, just get out there, just do it. And just, don't embarrass yourself. You're already having a hell of a
Yeah.
time. As a matter of fact, there's not much footage of me in the sky because it took me so long to get out onto the wing that the woman
Oh
hanging onto the
wow.
tail with the camera was like, she couldn't hold on anymore. And these guys are like, most of the footage is my two jump masters like just pushing me into the wind. Come on, man, get out there.
Oh man. Were you scared? I mean, were you
I don't
terrified?
remember being scared, but I
I don't remember.
think I had to have been, or had to have been really nervous because they did ask me too. That the older fellow from New Zealand, he even asked me, "Were you scared?" And I said I was nervous. He goes, "Good, because if you stop being nervous, that's when you stop jumping."
Yeah. Yeah.
That always stuck with me. If you stop being nervous, that's when you stop jumping.
Mm. Yeah, because then, a certain amount of fear is very healthy because it makes you alert.
Yeah,
It
oh
keeps you
yeah.
sharp.
You don't want
It
to
makes,
be like, oh, there's some geese, and
oh,
you're
I
paying
just jump
attention to
out
the
the
wrong
airplane. Oh,
thing.
I forgot to shoot.
Yeah. Because that I remember that too was like the freaky one of the freakiest thing about the whole experience, and the one time where I went whoa was when you hit around 5,500 feet, and all of a sudden the sensation of flying ceases and the sensation of falling replaces it because the ground just starts coming up
It's rushing up.
real
Yeah.
fast. It's like whoa,
Yeah.
like that came
I
out of
don't know.
nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know if we got that far because he pulled it. So I don't remember. I mean, I just remember being up and then but
Yeah.
it was a long free fall, no doubt. It was a
Hmm.
long free fall. I'm not exactly sure how long, but I have the full video, so I could probably even count on the full video because
Oh, okay.
he had a camera strapped to his wrist.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's how they took the video of me doing it. So you see the camera strapped to the wrist and you see me going, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So they didn't have another person doing the actual filming.
Oh, okay.
There was a lot of people on the plane, so there was about 10 of us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was about at least 10 of us, and like I said, two guys, and then the rest were all these young ladies. I'm like, if they can do it,
Yeah.
nothing.
Come on, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, because when I decided, well, the reason why I decided to do that is I have a scuba diving certification.
Hmm.
When before I got the scuba diving certification, I actually called. We have a local, uh, skydiving school not too far away from where I live, up in Garrison, New York, and it's a very world-renowned, very safe, very prestigious one, and
Hmm.
it's called the Ranch.
Oh,
And I called them up and I asked them, okay, what does it take to be able to skydive on your own? Where you can free fall legally
Yeah.
by yourself, according to FAA rules. And they said, yeah, it takes X amount of tandem jumps, X amount of two-person with two dive masters on, skydiving masters on your side, and then you do it with one, and then you finally do, and so I think by the end, I also called up a dive. I had a very local scuba diving shop nearby, and I said, "How much does it cost to get a scuba diving certification?" It was basically the same amount of money either way.
Yeah.
And I decided, if I do skydiving, it's going to be the same experience over and over again. It'll be
That's true.
incredible
Yeah.
to do the same thing over and over again. If I get certified for scuba diving, I can go anywhere in the world and have all these different experiences and all
Yeah.
these adventures under the water, which I've had so far. And so I opted for this, and I said, "There's no place to fall. Well, you could drown. I mean, you could get eaten by a shark. You could drown. You can get nitric. You can get the bends. There's a lot that can go wrong in scuba diving too.
Havens
I
too.
got I got what's called a vitreous detachment in my eye. So the inside my eye, the gel broke loose and became little floaters because I kept
Oh.
practicing buoyancy, going up and down. So
Oh.
changing spheres, changing pressures caused inside my eye to like lodge loose.
Oh.
So now I got a little
Oh, I'm
permanent
sorry.
floater. Trust me, it's far better than the broken back I got from water skiing, the nerve damage in my
Oh.
thumb I got from kung fu,
Oof.
or the broken neck I got from horseback riding. So
Oh my God, you're like Jackie Chan. You got all the adventure
yeah,
the
always
adventure
say yes to adventure,
injuries.
and you'll often say yes to physical therapy.
A trip to shrublands. That ought to do it.
But like I said, it was about the same amount of money. I'm like, well, if I go scuba diving, there's all these different experiences I could have. So I opted for that, and I think I made the right choice. However, would I like to do it again? Yeah, maybe. It wasn't an incredible experience. It wasn't. I'm
Hmm.
glad I did it the one time.
Yeah,
And I may or may not do it again. I don't know. Maybe you and I got together and we went to go do it. I might do it again.
that'd be fun. Yeah.
That would be cool. I
It'd be a
probably
good way
I
for
would
both
do
of
it with
us to go,
somebody.
okay, is this something we're gonna repeat, or is this like,
Yeah.
okay.
No, I would have to do it with like like if you and I got together somewhere and if I was out in California, I did ballooning out in California and that was cool.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, so if I went out
Yeah, if you
there,
ever find yourself on the West Coast, there's a lot of skydiving out here. So just,
yeah,
yeah, hit me up. We'll hit a tandem jump, man.
yeah. So who knows? Maybe that'll happen in the future, and then I'll film
Yeah.
it. But anyway. So, oh my God, great story, man. I had to get this down on video. I wanted you to tell this. When I heard it, I was just the whole time, I was like, couldn't believe how insane it was. So I really appreciate you telling the story. I really appreciate you coming on and spending this
Thank you.
time with
Thank
me.
you for inviting me and
Yeah,
letting me tell the story and share it. It's a lot of fun. Thanks.
yeah, this was a lot of fun. And I want to, just like I said, you can always find adventures wherever you go.
Yeah.
So, and this is one of them, action and adventure. All right. All right, Steve, take care, and I will see you sometime soon.
Yeah. Talk to you soon, Alex. Thanks again.